Hello everyone. So today we are gonna discuss about TCP/IP stack. I'll summarize the whole stack in this video. So rather than making a separate video on each stack, I thought like I will summarize all the layers in this, and then we can jump on the practical part. So let's start with this. So as we have discussed earlier about the physical layer, so I'm just gonna summarize the physical layer here, and then we can just start with the rest of the layers. Okay. For example, we have Okay, so in the previous videos we have like already we already discussed about the physical layer. So let's just summarize the part here. So in the physical layer we have discussed like we have transmission media and guided media and unguided media. Okay, then we had two part. One is guided and the other is okay. So in the guided media we had like actual physical coaxial cables and like optical fiber. And in the unguided we had basically radio waves, and we have like 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, so this is the main thing we discussed, and there will be like there is multiplexing also involved in this. So we have multiplexing also. Data from multiple users can send from a common channel. This is a basic we discussed about physical layer, transmission media point. So let's discuss about layer 2, data link layer. So now we do have a data link layer. Okay, so what in data link layer? So mostly data link layer is about in the data link layer as well. We have the MAC address involved. But what are the things that generally responsible for? So in the data link layer, we have responsible for error detection. Okay, and it is responsible for so it is also responsible for error correction. So let's discuss about what is MAC addresses first. So MAC addresses are generally like MAC addresses are 6 bytes long, and they are the unique. They are generally unique to every machine. So there is a network interface card. So they are generally embedded over the network interface card, and we cannot change the MAC address of a machine. I mean, there is a possibility we can change it into the software level. So but that is for just for our testing, but it cannot, that packet cannot go out basically to the network. So these are very unique to every device which is ever created. So these are 6 bytes long. So generally error detection is when we are sending some packet over the wire, so we have to detect whether this is a properly formed header or not. Or we can say, so when the packet is coming from application layer to the down layer, this layer will be responsible for checking the error in that packet. If there are some bytes which are changed or which are like wrongly entered, some bits are there which are not as expected to be sent over the like we can actually set that those bits. This layer is responsible for checking all those things. And error correction is basically if it detects some error, so it if it has some basic understanding, so these bits should be changed to particular value, so they itself will be responsible for doing that. So that's data link layer's job. So but and MAC address pointer is basically whenever we are sending some packet, so we will have one a MAC header, which most important field in that is like source MAC, and we will have destination MAC. The machine which is forming the packet will send its source MAC, and destination MAC will be resolved by a protocol called ARP. We will discuss this in detail in the later videos, but as I'm gonna just brief it about this. So ARP is basically about address. So this is a protocol which is generally responsible for resolving the MAC addresses of a machine where we want to send the packet. So we generally give the IP address to this protocol, and it will be broadcasted throughout the layer 2 because we don't have any MAC address at that time. So this is all about data link layer. So then the third layer which we have is the network layer. Okay, so we have the network layer. So now in network layer basically is responsible for IP address. Is the main part is IP address. So one is IP address, then will have routing. We can think about the routing as like forwarding as well. So what is IP address? So IP address is basically a 4 byte identifier. So when I say IP address, I am talking about IPv4 address. So there are IPv6 addresses also. So the reason for six IP addresses are basically we have the IPv4 is basically 4 bytes. So we can say 2 raised to power 32 is the maximum permutation we can like maximum number we can reach from this IP addresses. So that is already filled up. So they came up with IPv6 address, which is like a 128-bit long. Okay, so which is very long than respect to this 32 bits. And I say about IPv4 addresses, so what I meant is basically in the network layer, we will have to basically send packet to a particular machine. So for example, let's talk about very basic example. Everyone must have heard about this WCAT tool. So which what this tool basically does is, for example, I just want to uh, get google.com. Let's say very basic example. Okay, so what this tool basically does is, so when I run this command, basically, so it will try to resolve this domain to a particular IP address. So once it has the IP address, okay, so let's talk about some IP address. Okay, so this is my, let's assume this is the IP address of a Google server. Eventually, this will be ran over your system. So when we run this duplicate this command, so what actually is happening at the layer three's role uh, is when it reaches your machine, so it will have some field like source IP, and it will have some field like destination IP, and there are separate other fields also. So let's skip those for now. So we will have these two main fields which we need, and so which we need to fill in order to process the request. So source IP will be your host machine IP. Okay. So host machine, when I say it will be your machine IP, which the IP you have received from your router. Okay. So you must have received some IP when you connect it to a router. So that IP address will be here. So that will be your source IP. So for example, 168.5.10, this is your uh, IP which router gave you, and destination IP which should be this 10.57. So this will whole be filled into a particular header, and this will be then it will be processed to the later over the internet. So there are some other things also involved, because there is some field like source netting and network address translation that happen at the router end. So I'm not gonna talk about router and router's layer stack for now. So let's just assume this is the IP address which is going into the source IP. This is the role of IP address, because this IP address basically identifies a machine over the layer 3 network. Then we have this routing and forwarding thing. Okay, so routing and forwarding is involved at every device which receives the packet at its layer 3. So what happens in routing is basically when we receive, so there is one routing table and some routing algorithm is involved in this. So we will have one table entry like this. So we receive the packet, so we will have a network address. Okay, and then we will have a particular interface. So, and there are some couple of flags also involved based on that routing decision is being taken. But let's just focus on these two major of fields in the routing table. And so what they actually do is when we receive some packet, we will match that destination IP address, because which we have filled, which the other user have filled. So I am talking from a receiving point of view. So for now, I'm talking about where we received packet from some user which have filled these fields. So we received some destination IP. So what we do basically, we in the destination IP we get the network address. Okay, so how we get the network address from IP? Okay, so network address basically we have some 5.10, for example, we have some subnet mask. So subnet mask is basically how many users we want to create from a particular network. Okay, so that is basically subnet mask. So if I mask this many bits with the, for example, 24, which is very standard subnet mask. So 24 means so from these 32 bits, 24 bits will be reserved for that network address, so that will be called network address. So for in this scenario, so as we can say, this all is 8 bit, this whole before dot is on 8 bit, because this is from 0 to 255 we can reach from this 8 bit, and so this will be 8 bit, and so 24 will be like we are masking till here. So this we have the network address of 192.168.5.0, and we can mask like this. So this will be our entry in the network address. So we will have this matching once we get the packet, and if it is matches with our one of the systems, we can forward that packet to particular interface. For example, we have Ethernet zero interface in our machine where IP address was assigned. So we forward that packet to generally Ethernet interface. So this is how routing flow works. So for every outgoing packet also we have one destination IP, and we will see, okay, so the destination IP will matching with after subnetting it with the same subnet address. If it matches with the network address, then we have to forward that packet to particular interface. So this is a common flow in routing. We will have much more detailed info, and I will show some practical examples also while sending some packet or some raw packets. We will see that in action, and then you might have like better understanding about this. Okay, so this is just an overview of the layers. So I'm just gonna give some overview. So that's all about networking layer. There are some protocols involved in networking layer also. Software networking layer, we have the fourth layer, we can say, is the transport layer. So transport layer is mainly responsible for flow control, or so it's basically responsible for connection reliability, we can say. So it's not just about reliability. So there are two protocols mostly are responsible in transport layer is like TCP and UDP. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol, and UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. Give some information about TCP first. So TCP is basically transmission control protocol. So it's basically a connection oriented protocol. So when I say connection oriented, what I mean to say is basically when we want to communicate to a particular client, so we have to establish some connection with it. So that's the TCP's responsibility. TCP provides some information which can be used to authenticate with other user. So that's what this protocol is all about. So we will have we generally in this stack we have this SYN ACK and ACK. So this is a called three-way handshake. So which is generally used in creating a TCP connection. So this is a like most commonly we generally send first. So whoever wants to, for example, my machine want to connect to some machine, it has to initiate the request with SYN. The particular server and machine basically respond with the SYN ACK, and then there will be acknowledgement at the final. So it will basically once these three packets are successfully transmitted between the machines, so they will be called as like they have proper connection oriented framework. So why we need to create this? So basically when we want to send a particular when we want to send some data, we have to create one connection first. So even if you are sending wget requests, or like HTTP is also TCP based protocol, uses TCP as the transport layer protocol. So we generally have to establish the connection, then only we can send the particular packets. So there are all other fields also involved in TCP. So there is a particular header for TCP. So which has the mainly two field we are going to talk about: source port and destination port. So what is port? So let's quickly glance through that. So port is basically a 16-bit number, and 16-bit basically means it can have ports from 0 to 65535. Okay, so this is the maximum port number there can be, but generally host machine have some reserved ports which are till 1024. So why they are reserved is basically there are some applications, or there are some uh, predefined application which host or which machine needs to run, like socket for SSH protocol and FTP protocol. So there are uh, predefined port number for these protocols. So we cannot use the same port, because if a socket binds to a particular port, it can only bind to a one port at the time. Port is basically number which is associated with the application. For example, HTTP protocol which uses 80 port. Okay, we have one more application layer protocol like SSH, so which uses 22 port. Okay, and we have Telnet, which is also based off like a remote control protocol which uses 23 port. Okay, so like this there are many ports which are reserved, like 443 is reserved for secured connection over HTTP, and like that we'll have this port reserved for the machine. And so every use application layer protocol is associated with this. Okay, so that's all about port here. UDP, let's talk about UDP. So port will be both, uh, like port will be there in both protocols, UDP and TCP. So UDP is mainly connectionless. Okay, so there is one major difference between UDP and TCP is uh, TCP is like connection oriented, as we just saw. There are three-way handshake is involved. So when we have created a TCP connection, so even if there is some packets which are lost while they are going through the client or server side, so if they are lost in between, so there is a mechanism in TCP which based on some timer, it will try to resend the packet. So that packets are generally called TCP retransmission. Okay, so there is a one property in that. So because it did not get acknowledged, so I sent some packet and I did not get acknowledged for the packet. So what I need to do, I basically resend the packet so that it can successfully receive to the receiver end and I can get the acknowledgement. Okay, but that is not happening in UDP because UDP doesn't care about connection. We'll just take the details of the server and details of server. So when I talk about server, so basically what I'm talking about is a socket and IP address and port. So this is a major thing socket is responsible for, and uh, protocol, because we have to tell like which protocol they are using. Okay, so socket is generally application term and IP address is generally layer 3 and port is basically layer 4 transport layer. So we will have this combination and this represent a socket basically. So socket in UDP, if server is listening on a UDP socket, so it will have some IP address and port and in protocol as a UDP. So when client is sending packets, so it does not have to make a connection with it. So there is no connection established. It will directly communicate with that. So it will send the packet to UDP socket and it will not wait for any acknowledgement. It will just send it. Even if there is some connection is lost between that, so they don't need to worry about that. And UDP is quite faster in terms of this. So basic example of UDP and TCP, like FTP is TCP based and TFTP applications are generally UDP based. So generally TFTP is faster than the TCP is slower than UDP. The reason being, if because in every packet TCP waits for the acknowledgement. If it did not get acknowledgement, it will try to resend it. So it will never go to the next frame or next fragment we can say, because if there is a large packet, so we have to fragment the packet. So we'll discuss those in detail, but the basic idea behind is UDP doesn't have to form any connection, it just sends it over the wire. Okay, and that's why it's faster, and but it does not wait if there are some packets are like dropped or some because of some noise there is something happened wrong with the packet, so it will not try to resend those packets. Okay, so I hope I covered TCP and UDP pretty much. So let's talk about application layer first. So application layer, for example, I will just talk about HTTPD, which is very basic web server. Okay, HTTP, and there is very common web server called Apache. So but they both work like majorly on the same thing. So HTTPD is basically a, you can say this is the AT port, and there is one server listening on AT port, and when the packet comes to AT port, it will basically process that request and replies back. Okay, so application layer protocols is basically just responsible for processing the actual packet. Okay, so as we have discussed, we have all the layers. So we have listening this socket on a AT port, which is like on a application, and we have port linked here, AT. Okay, so when the packet comes over this, so they will have all the headers, which I just told about. Like for in the physical layer, we will get like a digital signal, and we will have to convert those into back to zeros and ones. So we'll have that here. Okay, and then data link will be there. It will have some MAC address as we talked, source MAC and destination MAC. So it will check one entry here if that packet received on data link layer, whether the MAC address is of that particular machine or not. So it will try to strip that packet if packet is destined to this machine only. So if the destination MAC matches, it will process and forward to a network layer. Okay. otherwise it will drop. So how it generally forwards to the network layer, and which protocol it needs to process next. There is one field in every header, which is called protocol. So which generally tells that layer where we need to send the packet to the next layer. Okay. So in case of, for example, TCP, or in case of MAC layer, so uh, there will be some protocol field whether the next packet is IPv4 or IPv6. Okay, so that is basically network layer. So once it accepts that packet and removes that header from the packet, so it will send to the network layer. The network layer will process its header, which is like destination, and we talked about source IP and destination IP. So it will process the destination fields now because it's receiving the packet. So it will check that if destination IP is of that particular machine, then only it will accept. And there is one protocol field in the IPv4 header, okay, which will tell which is the next protocol. So it will either show TCP or either show TCP or UDP. So on basis of that, it will send the packet to the upper layer. And if it's a TCP, then the TCP layer will process that packet, and it will check the field's source, basically destination port. So it will check if the destination port is which destination port is there and which is the application protocol. So it will see, okay, destination port is this one, and there is the application which is AT port HTTP is listening, send it to that layer. Okay. So then it will have packet will reach to the HTTPD, and it will basically process that packet, and then it will just send the packet back to the reply. Okay, this is how basic communication is working with all the TCP/IP stack. Okay, so we will see this in action, how packet looks like, what are other fields which are responsible in packet. So for now, we need to understand one flow here. Is just want to summarize the things. So what is happening basically in the physical layer, once the packet receives, so we will have a protofield, we will have protofield, so we will have protofield, and here also we will have protofield. So this field is basically telling where to send the packet next, because they will have separate drivers for that, like TCP. There will be some driver in networking stack, because this is all happening in the kernel level, right? So we will have one driver associated with it because it has to process the packet. So like that, they are following the traffic. This is basically called downstream, okay, because we are receiving packet on the machine, and if it is going outside of the machine, it will be called upstream. Okay, these are some terminology we use in networking. So when we are doing upstream, we are creating the packets, creating uh, headers, creating packet, or forming packet, we can say. Downstream, we are basically removing headers and processing it. Okay, so how does it basically look like? Case of creating the packet, we will have one, for example, application header. Okay, then we will send that packet to the down, and TCP will append its TCP header. For example, this is the TCP header, and this to the same application. So the application header will be encapsulated, we can say, because it will be hidden. So whoever wants to process this application header first need to process TCP header, because it's encapsulated inside TCP, so they won't be able to read directly application header till they read the TCP header. Okay, after TCP we will have IPv4 header, which will be like joined with all this. So this will be TCP header, and this will be application header, and like that we will have a MAC header, and all these three will be there. I'm just gonna name it IP and TCP and application. Okay, and then at last we will have all the encapsulation, and then we will have one a physical layer header, we can say. Physical layer have its own fields associated with it, so it will basically add those fields and then eventually convert. So this whole thing to like zeros and ones and will be there eventually, and then it will convert this into the digital signal. Okay, this is how the mainly things are working. Okay, so this is all I wanted to talk about in the whole layer. So I hope you got some idea. Maybe writing is not good enough, but maybe with my explanation might have got some idea. So that's it I wanted to talk about in this, and we will have some practical, more of practical understanding about this, and then quickly we will quickly we will jump into the more advanced parts in working. So thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please share with your friends and hit the like button. Thank you all.